part 2 of the racism in comic books. Now, I did leave off Harbinger Comics and Image Comics because they pretty much did have people of color in there. Because Image, people of color, their opening comic was Spawn, and that was led by a dude of color named Al Simmons, who would later be replaced. Again, I haven't caught up with Spawn and all them, so we're going to say they were retconned, even if they weren't retconned. Chopper was a pretty good hero until we found out that he killed Spawn. So yeah, you know, it goes on from there. But most of the Image comics, Stormwatch had a black leader and a primarily black team. And there were some other ones that it didn't really matter what color they were. And then when it came to like Dark Horse, the only team comic that I ever bought from them were the Next Men. All 4 of them were white. No, simple as that. All 4 of them were white. It was a good run. I think it could have done a little bit better. And if you go into the DC universe with the guy that did Watchmen, none of the Watchmen were black. None of them. None of them. So that solves that right there. Then you go into cartoons. So we're going to go into cartoons now from the comic book universe. Alright? The Avengers first run, they didn't have any black guys in there, and Simon Williams became Vision. Which, for the life of me, I don't know why they did that, because I don't remember them doing that in the comic book. But that Avengers only got like 1 season, you know. And I think the list of that was Hawkeye, Cap, Iron Man, Vision, Scarlet Witch, and there was some other body, but I don't know. And Tigra, she was not in the cartoon, but in the comic, and she was still a white person. Okay? I'm not saying this to be judgmental on white people, just getting that out the way. I'm just letting you know that the racism in the comics and the cartoons and stuff were still the same. And then when you get to the X-Men cartoon, the only black person ever featured in the cartoon until Bishop came along was Storm. Yeah, you never really had a whole lot of black people that were mainstreamers in the X-Men cartoon except for Storm and Bishop. You rarely had any Asians in there, but they did make guest appearances. North Star made a guest appearance on Genosha. Jubilee was the only Asian X-Man. Psylocke, Asian Psylocke, made an appearance in there. Dazzler made an appearance, but they didn't get a whole lot of speaking time for them, because Dazzler and Longshot and the X-Men went into Mojo World, etc., etc. You guys can go find that cartoon, watch it. Good luck. Back over on early 80s Street, back in the Super Friend era, when Hanna-Barbera was the top cartoon people. Everybody went to Hanna-Barbera. Because the last Hanna-Barbera cartoon that Hanna-Barbera ever did, they combined with Marvel, and they did Pirates of Darkwater, which Marvel would initially turn into a 7 to 12 spree comic. And Ren technically could be black, but being that they were on Octopon, there were people who were actually gray, like the Simpsons. So that really wouldn't matter, and that really wouldn't count, because Tula looked more Asian, but Ren looked more Asian. They both could have been Hawaiian for all you know. But again, I stress the fact that they were on a planet called Octopon. No, they were on a planet called Mur, not Octopon. Octopon was Ren's home. I stand corrected, and I apologize for that misinformation. See, when I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong. Got a lot of memories up here. Got to jumble through those damn things. You know, there's not like a little guy in my head flipping through a file card trying to find shit to tell my brain what to say. Now, back in the late 70s, early 80s, there was the Super Friends, and then there was Challenge of the Super Friends. And Challenge of the Super Friends is when they started bringing in more people of color to get more kids to watch it to sell more toys. You guys can go find that dude that does things about toys. I forgot what his name is, but he's cool. I follow him. So anyway, Hanna-Barbera refused to let the show go on without adding more people of color. And what they needed was El Diablo, Apache Chief, who was already in the first season, and then they needed Black Bolt and Super Samurai. Okay, so technically Super Samurai, Apache Chief, Black Bolt, and El Dorado, they were all technically Hanna-Barbera's. They were not DC Comics, because DC, I think after Hanna-Barbera went belly up, I think DC bought those characters so they could use them. Now, DC did have Black Lightning, but they didn't have Black Bolt, which a lot of people get mistaken for Black Bolt with Black Lightning. Alright? Now, I could be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. But if you want to fact check it, knock yourself out. Anyway, moving on. With those cartoons, you know, you had the Challenge of the Super Friends, and they brought in Cyborg. By the time they brought in Cyborg and Firestorm, they were like the last two. Firestorm's two white dudes. In the new 52s, he's a black dude and a white dude, but the concept's still the same. And in the Flash Arrow verse, he was a black dude and a white dude. Alright? So you see where I'm going with that. But they did that for continuity because more black people wanted to be represented. Alright? It's the same thing with Kid Flash being black and Iris being black. Not that I'm taking anything away from that, because I'm kind of glad that they did that, you know. But it was mostly for diversity because people are complaining that they're not being represented enough. I understand that because there's rarely anybody that's actually like me on those screens. Alright? You rarely see anybody who's black and Native American or black, white, and Native American and living in that cultural bubble. So that's a video in itself. But you know, the whole thing is that representation is very important. And if you want to sell comic books and if you want to sell cartoons, you may want to get people of different adversities or ethnicities into your storyline so that people will buy it. When Justice League came out, they picked the following seven members to be the founding fathers before Justice League Unlimited came out. So let's start off with the token black guy, which was John Stewart. We had Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman, Martian Manhunter, Hawkgirl. I'm pretty sure I'm missing somebody, but I don't know who the hell it is. So we're going to start with those six. I'm missing somebody. They'll come back to me. Hawkgirl doesn't really count because you couldn't tell if she was human, alien, or immortal. Wonder Woman, because there was only two women on the whole damn show. So Wonder Woman and Hawkgirl, they're both white. Batman is white. Superman is white. Even though he's an alien, his skin color is white. John Stewart is the only black guy on the team. John Jones is an alien from Mars, and at one point in time he would become a black man, then he would become a Chinese man, and he would get married to a Chinese woman. So by this time Justice League Unlimited came around, there was a big fight unless I'm on the wrong show, and Wonder Woman told the Chinese guy to go away. She can handle it, and he said, "I can handle it too, Diana," and he changed from the Chinese man, who apparently he told his wife who he was, and he went off to fight. Alright, so as Justice League Unlimited and Young Justice came out, Aqualad became black. Aqualad has never been black, but Aqualad became black when Young Justice came out. Then you had all these other heroes added in, and they started adding black people in there. They added, what the hell is her name? Honeybee, they added Vixen, both of them are black. Honeybee might not be the right name, it might be Queen Bee. Somebody with the damn bee who can do just like Wasp. She was their DC Comics equivalent of Wasp. Guardian came in, and another guy came in. Red Tornado is not a human, he is a robot, and he's not black. I might have a black actor talking for him, but he's not black. Then eventually they would bring in Static Shock, but he would be more or less for the last episode with Batman Beyond, kind of crossover thing. Then they brought in Amanda Waller. Initially, I believe Amanda Waller might have been white in the comic, and I think they retconned her and made her black. Because back in the X-Men world, Stevie Hunter was a cop, and she was black. I forgot who the hell she was dating in the X-Men comics, but it was a big clusterfuck about that too. I got it downstairs. So I want to end this interview. I want to end this video on the fact that most of the time when comics first came out, they really did cater to white people. They didn't really cater to black people, but black people, hey, we like comics too. So, and Native Americans like comics, and Asians like comics. So they did start making comics that cater to more ethnicities. Now, in no way, shape, or form did I make this video, even though the title is Racism in Comics and Cartoons and shit, you know, it's no way in form about that. I will make a third video that has no relevance to the Marvel or DC or comics in general, except I think DC may have made a comic of Centurions, or Marvel may have made a comic book of Centurions, I don't know. But I'm going to go there, and DC did make a comic book called Cops, which I'm also going to touch on because they were also a cartoon. Not sure where Brave Star falls in, but the next video, which is the final part of this, will bring those up. Yeah, if I could shut this down.